event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
Participant 2 meeting held here in Algiers on the governance of migration have hailed Algeria's approach to solving this problem, notably by identifying its root causes. As UN experts accused the Israeli occupation of carrying out a targeted famine campaign that caused the death of children in Gaza, the Israeli occupation army pursued its operations in the enclave, forcing tens of thousands of Palestinians to flee. The Hamas resistance movement have said that the escalating Israeli occupation attacks across the Gaza Strip are not helping negotiations to end the onslaught, but they are creating obstacles instead. Those were the major developments. Now the full news edition. Good afternoon. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received messages of good wishes from kings, presidents and leaders of brotherly and friendly countries on the occasion of the 62nd anniversary of independence. The President received messages notably from the King and Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, as from the King of Spain, Felipe VI. President Tebboune also received messages of good wishes from several presidents, including Tunisian President Kais Saied, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, and from the President of Ivory Coast, Alassane Ouattara. The participant 2 meeting held here in Algiers on the governance of migration have hailed Algeria's approach to solving the problem, notably by identifying its root causes. The meeting, organized by the International Organization for Migration, IOM, in Algeria with the support of the United Nations Migration Network, brought together key players in the field of migration, including representatives of the United Nations, international partners, and representatives of embassies in the countries of origin of migrant communities present in Algeria. The participants discussed common challenges and worked on finding initiative solutions to promote the safe, orderly and regular management of migration and asylum in Algeria and the region. In his opening address, the Director General of Consular Affairs and the National Community Abroad at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Rachid Meddeh, said that Algeria's approach in the area was based on a number of fundamental principles, including taking into account the specific characteristics of each country of origin. Mr. Meddeh added that migration is a complicated as well as a multidimensional humanitarian phenomenon, which affected mainly vulnerable groups such as children, women and the elderly, who are victims of several forms of exploitation. Algeria ranks 7th in the world and 1st in Africa in terms of liquefied natural gas (LNG) production capacity, with 25.5 million tons per year until the end of February 2024. A report issued by the International Gas Union, IGU, indicated that Algeria is ahead of Nigeria, which hold the 8th place, with a production capacity of almost 22.2 million tons per year, and Egypt, which ranks 10th, with 12.2 million tons. The United States of America tops the list with 91.4 million tons per year, followed by Australia with 87.6 million tons per year, and Qatar with 77.1 million tons per year. Together, these 3 countries account for more than half of the world's production capacity. According to the report, Algeria's LNG export volume increased by 2.88 million tons by the end of 2023, compared with 2022, taking its total export to 13 million tons, with an estimated market share of 3%, ranking it 7th in the world. And now the Abraj Energy Services Company, the provider of oil and gas services in the Sultanate of Oman, signed a memorandum of understanding with the Algerian oil and gas group Sonatrach to open new horizons for cooperation and create joint business opportunities in the oil and gas field services sector and integrated project management between the Sultanate of Oman and Algeria. Majid Mina has more details in this report.
The Memorandum of Understanding was signed on behalf of the Abraj Energy Services by engineer Saif bin Saeed Al-Hamhami, CEO of Abraj Energy Services, and on behalf of the Sonatrach Group by Farhat Onogi, Vice President in charge of business development and marketing for the group. The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding reflects the commitment of the two companies and their endeavor to mutually benefit from the shared capabilities and expertise in the oil and gas services sector between the two countries. The CEO of the Abraj Energy Services Company said the signing of the memorandum represents an important step to enhance cooperation between the Sultanate of Oman and Algeria in the oil and gas sectors. It also reflects the partnership and joint commitment to benefit from capabilities and expertise to enhance job opportunities in oil field services and integrated project management. For his part, Rashid Hashishi, the CEO and chairman of the board of directors of the Algerian Oil and Gas Group, Sonatrach, explained that the memorandum heralds the beginning of a new chapter in the process of joint cooperation between the Sultanate of Oman and Algeria in the field of energy.
A large delegation of businessmen from the Algerian Economic Renewal Council, CREA, is on an economic mission to Montreal, Canada, as part of the celebrations marking the 16th anniversary of the setting up of the diplomatic relations between Algeria and the North American countries. More details in this report by Majid Mila.
A communiqué issued by the Council indicated that the visit, which spans from 8 to 14 July, would be marked by numerous meetings with the country's institutions and economic operators. The Algerian delegation was welcomed yesterday at the new headquarters of the Federation of the Chambers of Commerce of Quebec, where it was presented with the COREX program, which aims to facilitate and promote trade between Quebec and the northeastern American states. CREA and the Federation of the Chambers of Commerce of Quebec have also agreed on a roadmap for seating links between Algeria and Canadian businesses, particularly in the agricultural, industrial and mining sectors. In partnership with Canadian employers, the Canada-Algeria Economic Development Council, the CREA, will be organizing tomorrow an economic forum between Algeria and Canadian companies, during which investment opportunities in Algeria will be presented. The remainder of the visit will be devoted to bilateral meetings between the CREA and various economic institutions, as well as with business leaders from the diaspora.
The Hamas resistance movement has said that the escalating Israeli attacks across the Gaza Strip are not helping negotiations to end the onslaught. Asia Bekar has more details in this report.
Hamas said the Israeli authorities, the premier in particular, is creating obstacles to the talks. Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh warned that the catastrophic consequences of what is happening in Gaza could reset the negotiation process to square one. He said the Israeli occupation will bear full responsibility for the collapse of this process. Haniyeh said he made urgent contact with mediators, Qatar and Egypt, over the expanding actions of the Israeli military, which issued further evacuation orders for areas in the neighborhoods of Gaza City, displacing thousands of Palestinians, many of whom had been forced to move multiple times. In this line, the representative of the Hamas movement to Algiers, Youssef Hamdan, said the Israeli premier is escalating his aggression and crimes against the Palestinian people in what he said were attempts to forcibly displace the people in order to thwart all efforts to reach an agreement.
نحن في حركة حماس نخوض عملية تفاوضية مع الاحتلال عبر الوسطاء.
We in the Hamas movements are conducting negotiations with Israeli occupation through mediators to reach a permanent ceasefire deal and a serious prisoners exchange deal. The Israeli occupation is spreading a lot of misinformation and fake news. We are sure that Benjamin Netanyahu does not see a benefit from this deal to himself. That is why he works on hampering this deal. We are dealing with this process with earnestness and responsibility. Our heart goes to our people who are subjected to genocide in Gaza. Our heart also goes to Al-Quds, the West Bank, and our detainees in prisons of the Israeli occupation. We are dealing with the negotiations process with high responsibility, and we are careful not to disclose the details.
التصريح بالتفاصيل.
Let's note that Palestinians had been ordered to evacuate the center of the Gaza Strip despite the presence of large numbers of displaced Palestinians from all over the enclave. The Israeli occupation forces have also attacked tent camps housing displaced Palestinians.
You're still listening to Radio Algeria International as UN experts accuse the Israeli occupation of carrying out a targeted famine campaign that caused the death of children in Gaza. The Israeli occupation army pursued its operations in the enclave, forcing tens of thousands of Palestinians to flee. Over 16 Palestinians were killed and scores of others wounded in the Israeli attacks, which targeted notably the refugee camp of Nusayrat in the central part of Gaza. The UN Coordination Office for Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, said that thousands of people had been ordered by the Israeli occupation army to evacuate the central part of Gaza City, where tense fighting was taking place. OCHA expressed consternation at the evacuation orders that forced displaced to move to sectors in the western and southern sectors of Gaza, where civilians are being killed. The UN Office for Human Rights stressed that the population was ordered to leave for the locality of Deir el-Balah in the southern part of the city, which itself is overwhelmed and has less infrastructure and access to humanitarian aid. This came as UN human rights experts denounced the intentional and targeted campaign of famine waged by the Israeli occupation against the Palestinian people as a form of genocidal violence that caused famine in the whole Gaza Strip. The experts appointed by the UN Human Rights Council affirmed that 34 Palestinians, mainly children, had died of malnutrition since the Israeli occupation army launched its attacks on Gaza last October. Although the UN has not officially declared famine in the Gaza Strip, the UN Special Reporter on the Right to Food, Michael Fakhri, assured that undoubtedly famine is underway in the territory. In a similar move, the World Food Programme indicated that 500,000 people were confronted to disastrous levels of famine and stressed that the restricted access to humanitarian aid and the limited stocks prevented Gaza's population from securing the food intake they need. The permanent representative of the State of Palestine to the United Nations, Mr. Riyad Mansour, has sent 3 letters to UN representatives with regard to the 9-month time length of the Israeli onslaught against its civilians in Palestine. Riyad Mansour said the Palestinian people subjected to the Israeli occupation for 57 years now have lost, since last October, 87,903 lives in Gaza and 571 in the West Bank, in addition to tens of thousands of injured. The Palestinian representative to the UN called on the international community once again to speed up the negotiations process to reach a ceasefire deal and save the lives of millions of people. He also called on all UN bodies, the International Criminal Court, and the world's countries to shoulder their responsibility and commitment to protect the Palestinian people, recover equal peace, and to put an end to the Israeli genocide and occupation. Let's note that the 3 letters of the permanent representative of the State of Palestine to the United Nations, Mr. Riyad Mansour, were sent to the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, the Russian Vasily A. Nebenzia, who holds the Security Council's rotating presidency for this month, and the President of the UN General Assembly. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is committed to pursue diplomatic efforts during and after its concluding a humanitarian truce with the rebellion movement of March 23rd, also known as M23, who took over many territories in the east of the country. The Samha Home Appliance Company affiliated to the Cevital Group have signed a strategic partnership agreement with Ayer, a global leader in the field of home appliances and consumer electronics. Asia Bekar has more details in this report.
The agreement aims to boost the field of home appliances in Algeria as well as the regions of the Middle East, Africa and other overseas markets. The CEO of Haier Company in the Middle East and Africa, Mr. Li Dapang, said this cooperation will increase the local integration rate and diversify Samha's product range with high-quality devices that meet international standards, the Algerian market's needs as well as foreign markets.
So by this kind of cooperation, what I think is that we can make full use of this kind of experience to together with Samha to provide the best experience for the consumers. I think for this kind of best experience, it's including several aspects. First, is related to product experience. Just like very soon, we will launch the very suitable AC for this market, which have the even at the 60-80 degree, it can work. So it's not only served for North Algeria, but served for whole Nigeria market. Second one is for the overall shopping experience. So for consumer, what they need to do is that in the shopping from the entrance to the shop to the delivery to the installation, they could have the best experience. And number third is related with the service experience. So any service headache, we could resolve it immediately. So I hope we can together create the best experience for the consumer.
He added that the Algerian market for home appliances has great potential and represents an important opportunity for the group.
For the second question, I think we have a lot of the synergies within Algeria and within surrounding countries. As what I said at the beginning, Algeria is a key market and plays a key role in the Africa and in the Middle East and even in the Europe. So what we hope that from the first stage, we will do the good and give the best service for consumers in Algeria. Based on this one, our development to surrounding market and even to other regions market. So I believe with the cooperation of both parties, the business is not only success in Algeria, but also success in other countries.
Let's recall that through a partnership with the Chinese group Haier, the Algerian Samha company will produce a wide range of devices in its industrial complex located in the eastern Stif province.
The High Commission for Amazighi or Berber Language, HCA, has announced applications for the 5th President of the Republic's Prize for Amazigh Literature and Language are issued until December 10th. The HCA said that the participants must submit their works via a digital platform and stressed that the candidates under 20 years old will from now on have the opportunity to participate. The HCA said the jury for the 5th edition of the award, dedicated to the promotion of Amazigh literature and language, has been renewed and is made up of national scientific experts in the field representing the different linguistic variants of Tamazight in accordance with Presidential Decree 2457 of last January 23rd. The first 3 winners will receive a certificate of appreciation and a financial award of 1 million dinars, 500,000 dinars and 250,000 dinars respectively. Organised and financed by the HCA, the prize will be awarded on January 12, 2025 on the occasion of the celebration of the Amazigh New Year, Yanayir 2977. The aim of the prize is to encourage research, production and promotion of Amazigh literature and language and to reward the best research and works in linguistics, literature written in and translated into Tamazight, research in Amazigh intangible cultural heritage, and scientific, technological and digital research. That's it for today's news bulletin. I invite you now to listen to a special program by my colleague Mohammed Khatel.